Greetings and welcome to another excellent chess training video. The best way to train for chess is to do survival puzzle rush. The rules of puzzle rush are pretty basic. 3 strikes and you're out. You want to avoid the red X of doom from Stockfish. Okay, so what happens here is you got to figure out how we're going to win this, all right? What I see here, what I call a Three Stooges checkmate. This pawn, this gives me virtual Mo. Larry is blocking his king, and virtual Curly. That means you have boom, boom, boom here, all right, and then here. These 3 gives us an artificial rook. This is a ladder checkmate. There's an invisible rook is what those Three Stooges represent. All right, now, one of the things my dad had a rule, know your checkmates. So you got to know the basic checkmates, like how to checkmate with a rook and a king, all right? Or rook and a king versus king, king and a queen versus king, you know, and then work from there. Now, this is another special type of checkmate. This is the knight and rook checkmate. Now, look here, this king lives in this 3x3. So let's look and see. The king can go here, blocked by the knight, blocked by the rook. This is a fence rook. This rook creates a line he cannot cross. So these are all 3 blocked. The only square, if we check this king, the only place he can go is here. But if I check him here on G4, and it cannot be captured by the rook, that's a checkmate. Kablamo. This cuts off the only escape square, which is E4. That's a checkmate. This is another basic checkmate. As my dad would say, know your checkmates. This is bishop and queen battery checkmate. Fairly basic. Now the thing is, you're not going to know all of these things. You're going to know, in the beginning, you'll know most of them, I hope. What you are looking for, problems or positions where you don't know the answer. And that's how you get better, is by learning the answer to the question of what are we doing here? Well, look, what's he trying to do to me? My dad's really golden rule of chess. He's trying to take this, perhaps. He's winning. He's got queen versus our rook. So we can't goof around. We're going to hit this guy. Whenever you see this king, and this is why I call it the Three Stooges checkmate. I see Mo, Larry, and Curly. Certainly, that's a checkmate. If I could get a rook on this back rank, or a queen. So if I could put a queen here, or this rook. If this rook would be here, that's a checkmate. This is not a checkmate because the bishop would go back to D8 and block it. This is not a checkmate. That's not a checkmate. That would lose your rook. This is inside. This is the move he will play to defend checkmates if he can. So we hit him where does his bishop not guard? The white square E8. So rook to E8 is a checkmate. It's a basic Three Stooges checkmate. Okay. Here you have 2 converging. Well, from my perspective, I see the queen here and I see the bishop going this way, although you would see it from the other direction. You'd see the bishop diagonally and the queen is vertical. Oh, sorry. You'd see the bishop diagonally and the queen being vertical to match the board. There we go. Okay. So queen and bishop both intersect with their lines. I normally don't do this, but I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. These 2 lines intersect here. This queen goes down the C file. This bishop goes down the H7 to B1 line, and they both intersect. You see at C2. Therefore, if there's no one defending, there's the king defending. Okay, so the question is, how many attackers are hitting C2? I have bishop and queen. How many defenders? He has king and, well, just king. So 2 beats 1. Checkmate. All right, again, you see the Stooges. They're right there. I got virtual Mo, I got Larry, and I got virtual Curly. That is a checkmate. Now he's going to bring the rook back and delay it by 1 move. Rook to D8, and then rook takes D8, checkmate. Okay, Now this is the basic checkmate. Again, this is from my dad's rule. Know your checkmates. Well, look at this. We have this battery, bishop and queen on the same line. We have a battery of rook and queen. We could win this rook, but we're still a rook down. We're a rook and knight down. So we don't do this. There's an old rule in chess. When you find a good move, rook takes free knight is a good move. Look for a better move. If you can't find a better move, then play the good move that you found. But in this case, the move here is queen checks. The king will move, forced king to f8, and then you'll see that queen into the dark corner h8 is a checkmate. So this is what is known as the mate in 2. The first move is queen h7 check, and he resigns, but queen h8 check was a checkmate. Again, you have, I don't know if this works. Oh, that works. That's fantastic. The knight is hitting here. The knight is also hitting here. So we have an intersection with these squares and the queen. Here's the queen's line. Whoops. Wrong piece, dummy. Okay, there's the queen's line. Now the knight move intersects here. That's a checkmate if I put the queen there. If there's no defenders. Again, I have queen and knight. He has king. And 2 beats 1. That's a checkmate. Okay. Now this is a specific tactic. You check him with the queen, he blocks with the bishop. Well, I can't play queen to f8 check. King, queen, he plays bishop takes free queen. But what happens is, notice that this king is now blocked by the bishop. And so we just move to another square along the back rank. In this case, the only square is d8. The bishop has to move back to f8, and then we're going to checkmate him. So this is what I call a hesitation check. The hesitation check sets up the actual crushing check. And this is a checkmate. The queen guards g7 and g8 from f8. Okie dokie. Now, let's, yeah, this is just crushing. What's the situation here? 2 rooks on both sides. 2 minor pieces. He's got knight and bishop. We have 2 knights. So the material is essentially even. The pawns are slightly off. It doesn't matter. We're 1 pawn down, but we're going to hit him on what I call the unblockable diagonal. Look at the unblockable diagonal. If I can put a bishop or a queen on this diagonal, well, he's in trouble, right? You know, not if I put it here. Here he'd play d5 and move the pawn and block me. But if I go queen, if I was able to play queen to d5, queen to e6, these checks cannot be blocked. Well, they can, but they can't be blocked profitably. He'll lose if he blocks them. Okay, so that's what I mean by unblockable diagonal, is that he cannot block it permanently without losing something. Okay, he's losing. So we're going to hit him with this unblockable diagonal check. It's really funny, in all the books I've ever read, and I have a lot of chess books, no one's ever mentioned unblockable diagonal. It's when it came to me and I invented the term for chess purposes, it was shocking that it was not invented prior to me. Okay, he resigned because he was going to go king into the corner and then knight to f7 check, forking king and queen, but he plays rook takes knight, I play queen takes rook, I win the exchange. So normally I say that before it flips over, but that one was fairly basic. So here, what are we doing? 2 bishops versus a rook, essentially. Oh, well, look, sometimes this is what I call board awareness. You got to be aware of your board. Queen takes free queen. That's game over. Sometimes people blunder. Okay, it happens. Now, this jerk obviously played knight takes pawn check, king d1, which closes off the knight's escape, and he takes the rook. Well, I'm not going to worry about taking this guy because, look, I got convergence. Again, here's another phrase I just made up for this. It's called convergence. No one uses these phrases. These come to me because I'm trained in science and pattern recognition, okay, and math pattern recognition, and also music pattern recognition, okay. Convergence, it's what's happening here. There's a convergence of queen and bishop. That's a checkmate. But in this problem, I don't know, this gathering of problems, the puzzle rush. These things come to me because I've done it so many times, and it's a convergence of pieces. Anyway, here, this is another board awareness. Well, look, I'm just going to take your queen. Now, again, remember what I said. Find a good move, bishop takes free queen. Hardly any move better than that, right? There's no harm in looking. Take your time, as my father said. Don't be fancy. Now, does it look awesome? And one of the best guys at doing this is Hikaru. He plays the best moves that fast. You're not Hikaru, and neither am I. But we can appreciate his ability, okay? We can appreciate the ability of the greats and try to incorporate some of their game to our game. Bishop takes free queen is winning. The lesson there is take your time. You know, my dad's rule again, know your checkmates. Well, we're going to implement a ladder checkmate here. And a ladder checkmate is when the rooks control like ranks. Like this represents a rook line, and then there's another one. And the king gets caught in this, it's a checkmate. Okay, sometimes it's vertical files, all right? You can have the vertical ladder checkmate or the horizontal ladder checkmate. This is a horizontal. What happens here is we're paying attention that, well, if we could put a rook here, this would be a checkmate, okay? You'd go rook back and we would just take this rook. But you're looking, and here we go. The phrase of the day, and this is whatever today's the 17th, or I don't know. I haven't looked at the calendar, but of August 2026. It's the 16th, 17th, 15th, whatever it is. Okay, I created a new term in chess: convergence. I see a convergence here. That bishop sneakily hiding on the edge of the board controls this square. Well, do I have a piece that can go there? Oh, yes, I do. There it is. Outstanding. Another convergence checkmate. So it's always awesome whenever I create a new phrase, because I don't plan this out. This is all improvisation. Again, now this is a ladder checkmate. And what happens in a ladder checkmate? I showed you a horizontal ladder. Now I'm going to show you a vertical ladder. We're talking about it, and it comes right out here. And it's just amazing. Sometimes the puzzle rush is not pre-planned. You don't know what's coming. That's why it's so great, is because you got to go out there when you're going to, if you're a fighter, you got to go out and fight a guy. Well, what if he fights a different style than you do? Well, you better be prepared, okay? And so in chess is like MMA fighting. You go out there to fight the guy. You don't know who he is. You don't know what, now sometimes when you play a lot of tournaments and you see guys repeatedly, yes, you know certain things about these guys. But this is a ladder checkmate. I'm going to check him here. Queen takes free pawn check. Obvious move. Just because a move is obvious doesn't mean, number one, that it's good. And number two, it doesn't mean that it's bad either. You got to go, okay, it's obvious, but you have to determine, is it good or bad? Chess I will help you with this. This is clearly a chess I. Queen takes check. King to g8, only move. And then rook to g4 check. Now he can resign or play queen to g7, and then queen takes g7 as a checkmate. It doesn't matter. I just told you exactly what's going to happen. There's a branch off. Either he lets me checkmate him or he resigns. I don't care. I'm winning either way. He resigns. All right. Another one that I was doing problems. It hit me just like the convergence hit me. I don't show up to problem solving going, well, today I'm a genius and I'm going to create a new phrase and they're going to love me. That's not how it works. You do your business. And you do your business every day. And you know what that makes you? That makes you a special player. When you do your business every freaking day and they're like, oh God, I want to play this guy again. That is a high compliment, okay? So this is what I call the fence bishop. And why do I call this the fence bishop? Well, let me show you. This line represents a fence line for any piece, but really it's usually aimed at the king. Normally it's the king. So the king cannot go to any of these squares. We're like, well, that's stupid. He's not going to go to A7 or B6 or D4 or E3 or F2. This fence bishop really only affects one square, G1, and I only need it to affect one square. However, I'm showing you the general concept of the fence bishop. Now, this line goes both ways, obviously, and it doesn't apply in this position. But this is what is known as the fundamentals. The fundamentals of the fence bishop is that he creates a crisscrossing diagonal line the king cannot cross, which is fine. Okay? I could do that. Anyway, so we've got fence bishop. He cannot do that. And so whenever you have a fence bishop that blocks the king's home square, and I say this when he castles, so for black, his home square in this position would be really C8. That's where the square he castles to. When he castles, his king would go, this black king would castle to C8, and now he's moved to B8. King castles, the white king castles on G1, and he's moved to H1, probably from a bishop check. All right, and again, this was an unblockable diagonal. He could block this, and he should have blocked it. Okay, he made a mistake. Yes, he made a mistake. The move, the best move in this position is rook to F2. And you're like, well, it just lets you win the exchange. That's right. Sometimes you got to give up that exchange, because if you don't, you get hammered, because I'm going to hammer him. And I'm going to hammer him because the rule of the fence bishop that guards the home square of the castle in G1 for white is that we're going to annihilate him on the H file. Outstanding. And I was doing problems, and I had this one come up, and I was like, oh my God, dude, this is the same thing every time. This is the pattern. The pattern recognition is fence bishop guarding the home square. You want to open the H file and annihilate him if you can. That's the theory of rook or queen. Okay, look at this guy. He just bishop forked me. So my gut reaction is to play bishop takes bishop. Because if I move my queen away to, I don't know, say G6, for example, bishop takes my free bishop. I don't give out free bishops. Well, you know, we don't do it intentionally. I guess that's the best way to put it. So my gut reaction is to take this bishop. He'll play pawn takes, and I'll take this, and I'm safe. I'm not winning material or anything like that, but I am safe in the context of I was going to lose material, and I'm not losing material. Then the other idea is, well, maybe I have something special going on here. And the answer is I really don't. I almost have something special, but not quite. This queen to G6 sets up, theoretically, a pin with a mate threat on G2, but he would go G3, and I could take the rook, but I'm giving up two bishops for a stupid rook. That's stupid. That's why I use the word stupid. So let's go bishop takes, pawn takes. Now, the rook is trapped if I play queen takes pawn, right? Look, that loses a rook, bishop takes rook. Rook takes rook, queen takes rook, bishop takes rook, queen takes rook, you're dead. So my gut reaction, and this is my spidey senses, said bishop takes, pawn takes, and I go, well, let me see if I take the pawn here. Oh, I'm attacking his rook, and his rook has no running away squares, no safety squares. Well, that's in the bag. But see, I built this, okay. Yes, I saw bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes very quickly. But I'm taking you through the internal motions of my brain to get that this is winning a rook. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. You just take it. Now, when you play speed chess, you have to shorten the sequence of time. Now look at this freak. Threatening, perhaps, queen takes rook, rook takes queen, bishop takes rook. He gains two rooks for queen and bishop. Not really a great move. The thing he doesn't have, though, is this. When you have these pieces hovering around the king, stuff like this, this is what I call unstoppable checkmate. And there's literally, he can temporarily delay this, but he cannot stop. This is an unstoppable checkmate. This game will end with a checkmate on G7. He took it. and it's game over. All right, now, so now it's going to start to get a little hairy. So what's going on here? This is my dad's golden rule again. What's he trying to do to me? Well, it doesn't take Bobby Fischer to figure this out, okay? It doesn't take Magnus Carlsen to figure this out. It doesn't take insert your favorite grandmaster's name here to figure out he's going to push this pawn and queen. So the dealio is I'm 3 moves away from queening, he's 3 moves away. So I go 3, he goes 3, 2, 2, 1. Oh, he can't queen because my queen is first and I'm covering his square. Game over. This is board awareness again. Now, if I push this, he's trying to play the Nimzowitsch rule. The Nimzowitsch rule says rooks go behind past pawns. Well, guess what? If he plays rook to h8, I hammer him with the interference move of knight to h5, and that pawn queens anyway. So long, chump. That's the correct idea, but I have the door closing knight move. Yay, resigns. Okay, now this is another one that I made up relatively recently. This is called the pin paralyzer. Okay, it was really funny. I was watching clips from Kung Pao, and that's the karate movie where the guy fights the cow, and then the fights the cow in the meadow. It was really awesome, and this is like 25 years ago. But I was watching a clip of that movie. My kids have watched the movie because it's hilarious, and they thought it was awesome. And the evil guy in the movie, Black Betty, he hit the guy, the hero. He hit him on the shoulder. He goes, "Another paralyzer." Okay, and he's like, he can't move his arm. It was fantastic. Well, and then I was doing some chess stuff, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm Black Betty now because my queen has a paralyzer, the pin paralyzer. I'm paralyzing this bishop. This bishop guards nothing. Whenever a piece is pinned to the king, like this queen, let me do this. I'll use the line. Whoops. This bishop is pinned by this queen. So I can go to every square that this bishop guards. Theoretically, he's not guarding it. So I could put, for example, this pawn here. Or I could put a pawn here. Now, there's other pieces. The queen and bishop, knight are guarding this, but the bishop's not. Well, the square that the bishops guard, the bishop guards these squares. And I'm going to use this again because this is fundamentals. The fundamentals say the bishop guards on that diagonal and on this diagonal. This is basic stuff. Any little kid could go, yeah, my dad or my mom taught me that, or your brother or cousin, uncle, aunt, whatever. Some relative usually is the guy that teaches you. Okay, so it's like we see this idea. Great. Well, look at this. Oops. Thanks for the queen, buddy. Because of the pin paralyzer. Outstanding. Okie dokie. Now, look at this. Do you see a convergence? And normally you call this a battery because the bishop and the queen are on the same diagonal. Okay? But technically, both pieces, the battery is powerful because the convergence is built in. You see, when you have bishop and queen, you just follow the line. Well, you know, this would be a checkmate. But, unfortunately, his knight on f6 is perfectly placed to stop this. And this is why this is the most important piece. A knight on, in this case for black, f6. For white, it would be a knight on f3. These are the best and most efficient king defenders of knights on the, you know, well, on the third square from the bishop. In the old days, you would call this king's bishop 3. This would be for black, king's bishop 3. Here it's, you know, in algebraic terms, it's the best squares for knights are c3, f3, f6, and c6. Okay, because what happens when this guy is gone, whoops, this is called removal of defender. I can't checkmate him, queen takes h7 check, because knight takes queen, and thank you very much. So we're going to destroy the defender. Outstanding. How dare you take my queen? Well, I'll take your queen, and I'm also, now this is not just destruction of the defender. When I destroy this defender, I'm threatening to checkmate him. He has to take this. But what I'm also doing is showing you a desperado. And in a desperado, I'm going to take his knight. He's going to take my queen. I'm going to take his queen. His knight now no longer has a piece it can take. So his rook will have to take my bishop. So what happens is I'm going to get a knight. Bishop takes f6. Knight takes f5. Bishop takes queen on d8. Rook takes queen on d8, except that... wait a second. That is not cool. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Bishop takes, knight takes. Bishop takes. Oh, and when he plays rook takes, he loses the control of his knight, and then bishop takes knight. So, during my explanation, I lost the track of what I was going. Let me start from the beginning. Bishop takes knight. Knight takes my queen. Bishop takes his queen. Rook takes my bishop. And then my light square bishop takes his knight on f5. I get 3 pieces, he gets 2. And by the way, I do this in tournaments. I just do it under the table where no one can see it. And this is just a backup. Boom, boom, so long, desperado. And what you look for in desperado, there's 2 things you look for. One is an in-between move, which we didn't have. The other one is a displaced piece that allows you to finish with a capture that cannot be matched. And that's what happened. Okay. Now, we do have a fence queen right here. Fence queen. So this gives us an idea there's something good going on. Now, the obvious move to me loses. Queen checks. Knight takes queen. Oh, you jerk. Okay, so that doesn't work. Now, one of the things you also want to look at are diagonal or other moves where they're unblockable. In this case, unblockable diagonal. And what happens here is you see this diagonal by the queen. And look at this knight. This knight acts, because the queen is the king is a short range piece. This knight acts like a mini bishop. No, you idiot. Okay, there we go. So if we check him with this queen, notice the knight guards these 2 squares like a little mini bishop. If there was a bishop on a4 or d1, you go, oh yeah, that bishop's got that and he's not getting there. Okay. So what my chess mind visualizes is that the knight is a mini bishop. This queen comes in and hits like the full bishop or queen, which is like a super bishop. It's like a bishop with extra powers. Okay. So where's he going to go? It doesn't take Magnus to go, well, he's got one move here, and that is king to c4. Okay, this is the only move he's got after I play diagonal check, unblockable diagonal check here. Now, what are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? The idea, to me, looks pretty straightforward. It looks like bishop to a6 is going to come in with this other bishop. And again, he has no moves except this one, king to d5. And then we finish him with a checkmate on c6 with the pawn. Now, the dealio is, in chess tournaments, you see masters, I do like this, so that's why I use it. This is what I call tournament face. And you're looking at this position. You know, they're sitting at the board, the 2 players, and you're looking at this going, what is this guy doing? 4, 5, 6 minutes go by. You're like, what is this guy looking at? Well, I just showed you what he was looking at. And at some point, he realizes that queen checks, king c4 only move, bishop to a6 check. When he's here on c4, the queen, okay, I don't normally do this. I'm going to do this for you guys to show you the power of visualization in chess. I'm going to queen check him here. So he's going to move, erases the lines, you freak. King c4, bishop is going to go to a6, and he has no moves other than king to d5, and I go c6 as a checkmate. All right. And this is the challenge that you must face as a good player, is that I visualize all this stuff. Am I correct? The answer is Queen E1 check, King C4 only move, Bishop to A6 check, King to D5 only move. And when his king is sitting on D5, C6, that pawn move, that is a checkmate, because the bishop checks him off of this square and every other square is blocked. So I've got him. Unblockable diagonal. He resigns. That's why I go through the entire thing before playing it here, because sometimes the computer just resigns like this. All I played was one move, and you're like, well, what's the deal? Well, you already know. Okay. All right, so here, look at this. Can't play this move. Why not? Because he's got a bishop X-ray defending the rook. I can take the bishop, except he'll take my queen again with queen takes free queen. Oh, man. Well, it's not free, but you know what I mean. When my dad used to say it to me as a kid, it was annoying. And it was always free. But I say it here just because whenever I say it, I flash back to like 1970 when my dad is taking all my free pieces. It's annoying. Okay, so I'm like, well, I can't take his rook. That loses. I can't take his bishop, which loses. But look, convergence. The phrase of the day is convergence. In this case, it's a one-word phrase. And we converge on H8. That is just a checkmate, sir. Outstanding. So, what's going on? Well, I don't know. What's he trying to do to me? Good question. Basically, not much. Now, my original thought, and I just tell you the way it is, not the way that's what makes me useful to you is I tell it to you the way it is and the way I do it. I don't edit this mentally, and I don't edit the videos after the fact. Everything you see is untouched, because if you edit the videos, then you start making questions like, man, what else does this guy edit? I don't edit anything. Two reasons. One is authenticity. Number two is I'm lazy. Okay. Number three, I'm honest too. Anyway, so I see the winning move, but the move I looked at first is not the winning move. You should train yourself to look at the check moves like knight and queen convergence on C3, but he's got queen, and so he would just take it. I can't kick this queen off of this line, or I would, and then I would annihilate him. But right now, what is the situation? Material is basically even. We're one pawn up. That doesn't really matter. The move that's winning, when you find a good move or a theoretically interesting move, look for something better. Oops, what are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? That's what my dad used to say to me. And usually that meant I was going to lose, because you probably figured it out by now, but I'm not Bobby Fischer. Okay, this looks like the winning move. Queen takes free rook. Again, this is board awareness, and board awareness is a skill. It really isn't a difficult skill to get. It's just paying attention, okay? You got to pay attention. So we have board awareness as queen takes free rook, sold. There's no checkmates or anything. There's no tactics that he's got. And you have to do this in tournaments. You're like, you see this move, it's like, oh, this queen takes free rook. Am I missing something? Now, as you get better and better at chess, you're going to be more and more paranoid to the outside person looking in. It's like you're not paranoid. It's just that you've lost games because you weren't doing your business and taking care of all of the opponent's potential threats that you could see or that were reasonably seeable. This is just a winning rook. Now, at some point, what do we have here? We got 24. I got 24 done. At some point, I'm going to make a mistake. And my dad's rules covers this. My dad's rules say chess is a game of mistakes. You cannot stop mistakes. And anyone who tells you that you can stop mistakes is lying to you. But what you do is is everyone makes mistakes, including your favorite player, Magnus or whoever that would be, makes mistakes. Okay, because chess is a game of mistakes, and that's okay. We just lose. We use the mistakes to motivate us to play as mistake-free as possible. Whenever you watch guys playing games, and I do game reviews as well, the mistakes are in there, okay? Now, egotistical jerks would edit the games to not show mistakes. It's a part of the game. Everyone knows you make mistakes. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. Magnus makes mistakes. The difference is Magnus makes 1, I make 100, and you might make 1,000. So you want to cut down the number of mistakes you make. And if you can cut down that number, yeah, it's to your advantage. Okay, so here what we have is a conflict. I was going to say combat, but that's not really the right word. Conflict between priority. And priority means what's the most important thing. You know, what's he trying to do to me? My dad's golden rule, you can never go wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me use, not your father. When I say let me use my father, okay. My father's golden rule is, what's he trying to do to me? So you're in a game, you're like, I don't know what to do. Well, he said to use, he being me, he said to use his father's rule. What's he trying to do to me? It always will help you. And so he's trying to do this. Rook takes queen. He moves this rook here to bump my queen off because I'm trying to triple team this knight. I could play queen takes knight. This move loses. And the thing is, now, Stockfish, it runs in these puzzle rush, okay? But it only runs in the negative mode. And I say negative meaning if you make a mistake, the red X of doom is what I call it, okay? It doesn't tell you, there's no bar. We don't have a bar. There's no way to know. This is just the reason that Puzzle Rush is awesome is because too many videos, and I watch videos, of games of players playing, and if there's a bar, I look at the bar going, what's going on here, okay? Well, the bar is a tremendous teaching asset. However, it is also a crutch, and it makes you weak if you rely upon the bar. We look at it as a luxury item, okay? So all I have here, just like in tournaments, I train for tournament victory, is that all I have is me and my board, in this case, a computer screen. No cheating. Doesn't do you any good if you cheat. I can play queen takes knight. That loses. All right, this is my chess brain taking over. I can play queen takes rook check. That also loses. He will not play, for example, the inferior move would be knight takes rook and then rook takes queen. It's probably still losing. Yeah, it's still losing for white, but not as badly as just simply if I play queen takes rook. Actually, I was thinking rook takes rook is the best move. It's probably not. Knight takes rook is probably the best move. It's just an exchange up for black. Okay, so that loses. Queen takes rook check loses. Queen takes knight check. I mean, queen takes knight is not check, and it does lose. So what's the deal? Well, here's the thing. We're going to use my dad's rule. What's he trying to do to me? Now, this is like a coin. All right, I'm going to use my hand to simulate a coin. You'd have the heads of the coin up top and the tails down here. The head side of the coin says, what's he trying to do to me? Well, if I flip this coin over, which is very inconvenient, what am I trying to do to him? There you go. So it's a double-edged sword, or it's a coin where it's what's he trying to do to me on one side and what am I trying to do to him on the other. The answer is this. This is the crusher. Rook takes knight. You're like, that move isn't crushing. Well, isn't it? So what do we have here? Now, this is where you have to have chess vision. And chess vision comes from your chess eye. You have to be able to see some of these things that look insane. Rook takes knight looks insane. You're just going to take a queen, stupid? Well, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. Let's go. Rook takes knight. If he goes rook takes queen, well, we have either rook takes queen or we have rook takes rook check. One of these is better than the other. I already know which one it is, but I'm just going to go through the process for you. Okay, rook takes knight. Now he can play, for example, queen takes rook, which is a bad move because I'm going to play queen takes queen, rook takes queen, bishop takes. I'm triple attacking this knight. He's got 2 defenders. So queen taking walks into the 3 versus 2, and 3 beats 2 all the time. Now, order of attack is a thing, and you got to do it in the right order so that you don't lose your queen, for example. But rook takes knight is probably exclamation. Okay, this is you know, an exchange sacrifice, or what I also like to call a change of powers. We're going to change this piece to another piece. But rook takes knight, queen takes knight, double question mark, loses to queen takes queen, rook takes queen, bishop takes rook, and I'm a bishop on c6 and a rook on f1. He's just got a rook on the back rank. So I'm a piece up if he takes with the queen. So this move wins if he takes with the queen. So queen takes c6, you're out of here. That loses. If he plays rook takes rook, well, I can play queen takes rook. Again, my queen is safe because it's 3 versus, he walks into the 3 versus 2 again. Rook takes c6, exclamation. Rook takes rook on c6. Queen takes rook, best move. He's now losing with, I have queen, bishop, and rook against rook and queen. Again, I'm a bishop ahead. So that's move number 2. That's no good. So there's really only 3 moves. Well, there's a 4th move that's stupid. We'll skip to the 4th stupid move is this. If I play rook takes knight, he can play queen takes bishop. But how stupid is that? Okay. That loses to queen takes queen. It also loses to pawn takes queen because he can't take my queen because that's a checkmate. Rook takes c8 is a forced checkmate. If he takes the rook, queen takes d8 is a forced checkmate. So there's 4 ways to recapture. When I play rook takes knight, queen takes loses, rook takes on c6 loses, queen takes on f3 loses. The last move is rook takes d5. So if I take this, rook takes d5, I could play rook takes rook check, but he goes rook goes back. And then if I play rook takes rook, queen takes rook, he's got queen against bishop and rook. That's not in my favor. It's in his favor. So rook takes knight, you're like, maybe that's not the best move. He's going to take your queen. That's true. He takes my queen. But I play rook takes queen. Ruh-roh. And this is the deal. You have to look at every possible capture and recapture and figure this out. And it takes time. Okay. Now, this is an easy one for me because I am a chess master and I've won about 50 different tournaments. So my training and experience makes this easier for me, but that's why I'm showing it to you so you can go, I see, I wasn't doing all. You lose games because you don't do all the things I'm showing you. That's why I'm showing you these. These will show you the ways to avoid losing games. Okay, so again, we go back to the beginning. Rook takes knight is an exclamation. That's the best move because rook takes queen also loses. That's the 4th capture. To rook takes queen, and if he moves his rook, I move my rook. If he takes my rook, I take his rook with bishop takes d5. And again, I'm a bishop ahead. I'll have bishop and rook versus rook. This is crushing. Now, I did figure this one out literally in like 10 seconds. But it's because I have experience in this kind of stuff. And this is very simple, but this is, we're prioritizing what to do. And like I said, every one of the 4 recaptures that he could make, the options, were all bad. It's like, which option are you going to play? They're all losing. I don't really care. The phrase comes to mind, I'm in the butt-kicking business. And as you can see on the board, 25-0 at this moment, business is good. Okay. Now, look at this guy. So this is a jumble. Okay. That's not really a bad jumble, but there's a slight jumble going on here. And the jumble is, what are these pieces doing and what's he trying to do to me, etc., etc. Now, the good news is he doesn't have a direct threat. This is not a checkmate. King takes free rook stops that. Now, he is theoretically maybe going to play this, which threatens a checkmate. But that's too late and too slow. What that means, too slow, is that it takes him too many moves to do it. You see it in advance of it happening, or you should see it. Theoretically, you see it. Now, he is threatening another thing, though. He's threatening check, winning my queen, you freaking jerk. Okay. Again, that doesn't really work because my queen will get off of this line. I have two choices. Can the king leave this line? Well, the fence rook says no. This is a fence rook. This is the enemy's fence rook, and he's got a fence that my king cannot cross. So king can't get out of this line. Queen's got to get out of this line. This is just logic. This is mathematical logic taking over. All right. So he's going to play this move. Rook to h8. Check wins your queen, idiot. So my job here is to not be an idiot and not allow that. The best move I can do would be to go here, loses, loses, doesn't lose, loses, takes a free bishop and doesn't lose. It's either queen to d5 or queen takes free bishop. Now, we're all not idiots, right? I think we can agree with that. Okay, so we're not idiots. And the thing we're going to do is queen takes free bishop. But remember tournament face. We've decided already that queen takes free bishop is probably the move that is, if it's not winning, it's clearly not losing, which is the most important thing at this moment. Sometimes you're playing the move to win a game. Sometimes you're playing a move not to lose. And you have to be aware of these two different situations. The best move is the best move, but usually the best move tends to be best move for winning the game. If you add on the additional description, or this one is going to be the best move if queen takes bishop on d3, because this preserves our material and prevents us from losing the game. So this is a defensive move. That was the best move on the board defensively. Okay, freak. Well, now, okay, this is a classic desperado opportunity. I'm not saying it's desperado. The desperado opportunity is I take, he takes. Or he takes and then I take, he takes, whatever. Okay, but it's a take and take. So let's look at the desperado angle, which is losing for white. Pawn takes queen, double question mark. Knight takes queen, check. Ah, fudge. King goes to d2, and then knight takes rook. So he's going to give you queen and knight for your queen and rook. Well, that's not a good deal for us. We're already a piece down. He's got 3 minor pieces. We have 2. So, as my dad had a brilliant rule as well, find a blunder and then don't play it. D takes c5, double question mark. That's why I threw it in there. Again, now there's no board markings. There's no evaluation bar. This evaluation bar in this position literally would be white way up here, okay, if it existed. But if you play this move, it would drop. You've seen it before. It would drop to black winning, all right? So this is your board awareness and then your tactical ability. We have another stupid move we could play. Bishop takes knight. Double question mark. The evaluation bar drops because he plays queen takes free queen, you idiot. All right? I mean, I throw in those funny descriptions. Queen takes free queen, you idiot. You know, because remember, my dad said chess is a game of mistakes. And when you let the mistake happen to you, he would agree you're an idiot. All right? But if you call yourself an idiot first, you know, it's no harm, no foul. That was a cough drop because I'm talking. I don't have water here. So my voice is getting dried out slightly. That's no problem. So one of the things that happens in Desperado, the way you win a Desperado is find a sidestepping move. The in-between move is usually referred to as a capture. Sometimes it's a sidestep. Now, very rarely, this Desperado opportunity can be won because you simply sidestep before you capture a piece. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen, and this is one of those cases. Queen to a4 check. What are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? Now, here's the thing. What you have to recognize here, there's a double attack going on. I've got attack 1, pawn takes queen, and attack 2 is bishop takes knight. Now, the knight is defended twice by bishop and queen. However, if we sidestep him with a check. Now, the first version of this I looked at, even though it doesn't do anything and it's terrible, is bishop checks. He would just go queen takes free bishop. Bishop b5 check, double question mark. Horrible move. But here in the tournament, inside of your brain, every move is playable, and you have to evaluate which ones are good and which are bad. And bishop to b5 check, double question mark, is very bad. So that's the tournament face. However, if we check this guy, we get out of his return attack of the knight attacking my queen, and also the queen x-ray attacking my queen. I can't play bishop takes knight because, remember, queen takes queen. But I can check him. And now he's got to block the check or move. What happens here is if he moves his king, I don't care where it goes, pawn takes queen wins. So he's got, like I said, he's under a double attack. So, but if he goes, okay, queen moves to c6 to counterattack my queen, well, guess what move turns out to be a winner? That ugly bishop to b5. Oh, so you see, your board awareness is that I can play bishop to b5 if it's helpful, but if I play it in the wrong position, it's destructive of my game. Queen to a4 check. Trust me, this is the best move on the board. Everything he does, this is the move that preemptively stops his desperado. He was counting on winning the desperado because it looked awesome for him. But this check, if the knight goes back, pawn takes queen. If the queen goes back, I skewer him with bishop to b5, best move, and now your queen is gone. So, adios muchacho, and yes, I found this in like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Well, thank you for playing, but that move doesn't work, sir. Now, objectively, he did have a trap move that's better than king to here. If you want to see if you can figure out what his trap move is that I already realized doesn't work, pause the video and try it, and I'll be back here in 3, 2, 1. The trap move would be either knight checks here or knight checks here. But this one's really trappy because it makes you afraid of losing your rook. If you take the knight, he takes your bishop. So if he checks you, queen takes knight, double question mark. He checks you here with a trap move, and it's a good trap move. You play king to d2. He cannot check you with the knight ever again. If he checks you with the bishop, you just play king takes free knight. And that queen is, his queen is dead to rights. This queen ain't walking away. All right? So the trap move, and it's, you know, it works sometimes, but you got to spot these moves and go, I'm going to take your queen, baby. King to d2. Okay? So he didn't play the trap move. He played king over, and I told you if he does that, we were going to, you know, earlier, when I checked him, if he ever moved his king, I'd take his queen. Well, turns out I'm going to take his queen, but differently. Outstanding. Okay. Again, if I ask you what's the thing that jumps off the board at you, you know, now I don't make trick questions because that's counterproductive. I want you to understand that everything I tell you is the way it is, legit. And you will trust what I say because I don't give you trick questions because that undercuts my own veracity. You like that word. Fence rook is the #1 thing. This king is dead. If I can check him, I can kill him. Okay, that's a variation of the line from Predator. If it bleeds, we can kill it. Okay, when we can trap his king, we can checkmate him. This would be checkmate. It's not complicated. Now he is threatening. What's he trying to do to me? Bishop takes rook. Rook takes bishop. So since this move or this move would be checkmate, this move is not checkmate. King would go to b5 and escape. We cannot play that move. We can play this move though. This is a checkmate. Now this is unblockable diagonal. All right, let me show this to you. This is unblockable diagonal. He can stick the rook here, but we're just going to take him and it's still checkmate. Okay, there's nothing he can stick on this diagonal that will permanently block the bishop. And that's what it means when I say unblockable diagonal. Either it cannot physically be blocked permanently, or any blocking of the diagonal would lose him material. Like he had a queen and a queen that could move in there, and you would just take the queen. It's the same thing. Effectively, it's tactically winning because it's going to cost him his king or some hideous amount of material, or sometimes both. So, goodbye, Charlie. Now look at this guy. What are you trying to do here? You got a couple of moves. We got to figure out what's the right move here. All right. Now let's look at the material situation. 2 rooks, 2 minor pieces each. Good. 6 pawns. 3, 4, 5, 6. It's all, this material is dead even. So what's going to happen here? Most likely, and these positions are like detective stories. You're trying to figure out what the detective is looking at. Okay. What happened in the crime scene? It's a crime scene. We're trying to figure it out. So my gut reaction is to play this move here. Now we have a potential, not really a problem. He can play knight takes bishop because we're threatening pawn takes knight. If I go king here, can he check me is the first thing. The answer is no. When I say can he check me, it implies a reasonable check, not something stupid like queen takes bishop. Queen takes a b7. Although you have to analyze these moves, that sometimes a stupid looking move is a winner, or queen to c7 check. If I go king to here, there is no checking. If I go here, technically he can check me. Knight takes bishop is check. King takes, I'm not really in any threat at all. But my gut reaction is to be able to defend myself. Now there's another move that's quite good, and you'll see why here momentarily, is this move. This is the other move. Now some of you would say, well, don't move your king, stupid, move the bishop. Okay, and this is the thing about chess. Every chess position is the same as we look at it. But you see bishop to d7 first, and I saw first king to b6. The difference is, one of those is better than the other. I already know which one it is. I'm just showing you the way it came to my brain. Okay? And if you saw bishop to d7 first, you're correct. This is the best move. The reason this is the best move is because of this rook in the corner. Because what this does, now this is a great move defensively. Gets out of trouble, you can't check me, blah, blah, blah. However, this creates no real threat. He has knight takes bishop, okay? But there's another thing threatening to happen, which he can evade. And this is the great example of my dad's rule once again. What's he trying to do to me? Well, in this case, he's thinking, what is this other guy playing black trying to do to me? And the answer is, I'm going to play rook to h8 once this bishop moves. When I play this, notice the rook can now go rook to h8, guarded by the bishop, and it skewers this rook in the corner. That's why this is the best move. I can take this with check. I could play rook here, but he plays queen takes bishop check, queen takes, knight takes. and then rook takes rook. So I take this with check to relieve the threat of this queen takes, sidestepping my tactic. And now I hammer him into the Stone Age. Well, what are we doing here? We do have just a blatant move. Pawn takes bishop. Now we have another idea. I clicked on the mouse. That's not the move I wanted to play. It was knight takes knight check. Crud. Okay, that was a mouse slip. That's not a chess mistake. So in Puzzle Rush, it counts. In real chess, that doesn't count because that never happens. Not in that context. Okay, so we don't worry about that. The knight takes knight check was the right move. We'll come back and show you that later. Now, one of the things, again, you remember what I told you about Kung Pao? The pin paralyzer. Where's the pin? There you go. What's pinned? The pawn. That means every square this pawn guards, like rook to f4, doesn't work, except that this is on, it blocks your own pin, so rook to f4 double question mark doesn't work. However, this does work because guess what? It ain't blocked. So the pawn is pinned, check. Now we have an upcoming checkmate. And actually the correct move here is not queen to h3. I almost prematurely played queen to h3. The move is actually bishop takes pawn. He threatens a checkmate here, and if he takes it, check, bishop comes up, and then queen checkmates on g2. You can resign. Or let me checkmate you, I'm good. King and pawn endgames, one of my specialties. And this is how you win tournament games, is you got to be able to crush people in king and pawn endgames. He's threatening to take my pawn. What a jerkweed. But he's going to lose. The reason is he can't take this. You know, what's he trying to do to me? He's trying to take this. He can't do this because I will respond with king takes f5. He cannot defend this pawn once I do this. Now this sets up a Zugzwang. And Zugzwang is a German word spelled Z-U-G, Zug, meaning to move, and Zwang, Z-W-A-N-G, meaning badly. Move badly is what he will have once I play H5. This is the winning move. He can not take the pawn, I'll take the pawn. He can also not take the pawn on E7, and I'll take the pawn. Or he can take my pawn, I'll take his pawn, but I have opposition preventing him from attacking my pawn. So H5, best move. King takes pawn, king takes pawn, king to G7, king to G4, I'm threatening his pawn. He goes king to G6, counter-threatening my pawn. I just take his pawn because it doesn't matter. There's nothing he can do. Okay, you don't take it. Big deal. Same story. And I go here, stepping out of the way of the pawn, and I cash. That's a basic king and pawn ending win. You got to know these things if you want to be a good player. This guy's getting annihilated by a killer combo. And the killer combo, actually, it's like there's two versions. What do you see here? This bishop is attacking h2. This knight is attacking f2. And I have an option of playing queen to h4, attacking on f2 twice and h2 twice. Now, he can respond to that move with g3, and that kind of blocks my business. So queen to h4 is not the right move. It looks awesome, but this move stops it. So g3 is a crushing defensive move. So I'm using what I call the brute force technique. Brute force is, let's make the most attacking move we can play, queen to h4, and see what the defense is. We figure out that g3 defends. I can't take here. You just king takes free queen, stupid. Okay, And if I don't move the queen, pawn takes free, queen is stupid. So queen h4 double question mark. It's a double question mark, not that it loses, it just throws away the win. The move that wins is bishop takes h2 check, because this is the setup move. And what you have to be able to calculate here in your brain with some kind of tournament face here is bishop takes pawn check, king takes bishop, queen to h4 check, king to g1 only move, and then you hammer him queen takes f2 check. And he is in major league trouble. King to h2 or king to h1. And it is not good for him. We could play simply, we could check him on g3 if he goes to h1, because king back to h2, not getting anywhere. So it would be bishop takes pawn check, king takes, queen h4 check, king g1, queen takes f2 check, king to, king to h1. We can check him again on h4, goes back to g1, and then play good question. The other move would be knight takes f2, king takes, queen h4, king to e2, he gets away. We queen check him, king goes to d3, and you run out of, actually you don't run out, do you? Oh no, the knight's gone. Yeah, you run out of moves. This is the move. So this is the move. Queen takes pawn check is crushing. And he resigns. Okay. All right, now here's the dealio. We're a bishop ahead, but we have fence action on this queen. Whoops. I don't even know how I did that. Anyway, let's do this. So we got this business. Got a fence queen. We can check him with the bishop. What happens? This is a brute force technique. Bishop checks. King goes to here. Queen can check him, and that is a checkmate, sir. Because of the fence queen, his king can only move to here. So we bishop check him, and we queen checkmate him. This is fairly basic. Oh, baby. It looks like he's asking for it. With a discovered check here from our queen. The thing that's bad about this is that he's going to get hammered by rook to g2 and then queen to h2 checkmate. So this move is obvious and very good. f3 check, king h, well, he can play bishop to e5. This is an unblockable diagonal. It's unblockable because he cannot profit and he cannot make it permanent. So bishop comes up, queen takes free, bishop check, same story. King is going to h1, and then we're going to play literally rook to g2, and he's checkmated. But let's double check and make sure this is the right move. He does have ideas, perhaps. No, he cannot stop that. He can play bishop takes f3, but queen takes h2 is still winning. And not that he takes, but queen to h2 is mate. It's all checkmate, baby. It's unblockable diagonal, and you saw that yourself. What a clever little freak. So what's the story? He took a pawn, probably. Big mistake. Big mistake. All right, why is this a big mistake? Well, the advantage of development is pretty even. But this is a classic example of violating my dad's rule. Don't be fancy. I can win a pawn. Bro, how many times have people lost a game because they said I could win a pawn? Knight takes pawn. He's moving. The problem is he's moving his main king defender from f3 to take the pawn. What I can do here is really quite simple. I can play knight takes knight, bishop takes, he wins a pawn, and I can go just queen takes free knight. We're just winning winning a knight for nothing. This is a really basic level sequence. I can play straight, queen takes knight here, but he would play knight forks my rook, so knight takes looks winning. I don't know, man. It just looks like a win to me. He's going to wreck my structure, but who cares? I'm a piece up. Well, here we go. It's Kung Pao all over again. Another Paralyzer. What's the paralyzing piece? Which the piece that's doing the paralyzing. This is the Paralyzer. Another Paralyzer. This bishop cannot defend the squares. Where does it defend? Well, it defends on this diagonal. Let's get rid of that. Here we go. It defends here. It also defends here. Well, I did this incorrectly. The bishop defends here and here. That is the correct answer. And there's a difference. So the point is, I'm going to Hikaru this guy because I saw this almost instantaneously. Outstanding. Remember, the bishop was pinned by the rook. He didn't defend that f7 square, and so I annihilated him. My brother, you're dead. This is the easiest sequence. I'd say pause the video, see if you can figure this out, and I'll show it to you in 3, 2, 1. This is where you start being, this is a test. Now, if you get this, great. That means you have mastered this idea. If you didn't get it, also great. Not because I'm bragging that you didn't get it, but I'm going to show you what you need to know, and so the next time you're going to go, he showed me how to win this. Okay, so that's the thing. You either win it now or you win it the next time, and that's what these problems are good for. The answer is check, unblockable diagonal. Because the answer was he's going to go king to h8, and then we're going to go queen to h3 checking. He goes king to g8, and then queen to h7 is a checkmate. We were doing a forced checkmate, but queen takes e6 was what I call the hesitation move that sets up the checkmate. And actually, you know what? I normally don't do this, but it's a lot faster and easier if I do it now. Okay. This is the position on the board. So you saw that here, the queen is on e2, and I took the pawn. He went rook to f8. Black played rook to f8, no longer guarding that pawn. So queen takes e6 check, king to h8 only move that doesn't lose, queen to h3 check, king to g8 only legal move that doesn't lose, and then queen to h7 is mate. Now, if we take it with check, if he goes king to h8, we go queen h3 check. If he goes bishop to h6, we go queen takes h6 check, and we'll checkmate him in the same basic fashion. But we're taking the e6 pawn with check to open up his position and reroute our queen to a devastating line. We were on e2. We got to the h file. We could play queen to h5, but it's not with check. But if you hesitation, bump check him. Queen takes e6, bump checks him to the h file, and then we go queen h3. It's just check, 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 and mate. That's the best way. All right, anyway, go back to the problem at hand. Brute force technique says check him or attack him. We can only check him with pawns. So he would go, if I play g4 double question mark check, or double g4 check double question mark, he plays king to g6, the only move. So the key thing is, can this knight check my king? You always have to ask these questions in end games. The answer is no, he cannot. He cannot check me. He cannot check me. He cannot go. He can move here and threaten to check me, but that's not a check. That's a threat to check. So the answer is the winning move here. Pause the video, try it for yourself. Not a real difficult one, but again, this shows you have a better knowledge of king and pawn endgames if you can solve this on your own. And if not, then I'm showing you an important consideration to let you get it the next time. And the answer here, 3, 2, 1. This is now unstoppable checkmate. That doesn't work, son. Because remember when I said G4 check was double question mark? Well, that's because he could go to G6. But as you can see, I just stole his square. If we look at these squares, now the king lives in a 3x3. We'll start here at E4, goes to G4, to G6, to E6. Let's look at every square. When I check him, can he play king to here? Negative, blocked, blocked. It'll be blocked by the pawn guarded by my king. That's blocked. Blocked by my pawn control, blocked by pawn control, blocked by pawn control, blocked. So there's 8 blocks. That's a checkmate. One of the things you may have realized is that when you ask the correct questions about the position, that's how you find the correct answer. Okay, this should be fairly basic. What's going on? Brute force method says check him. So we check him. He'll play king to the G5, and we'll just unblockable diagonal check him with the bishop. What happens here? So rook checks. King G5, bishop checks. He's got, I think that's a checkmate. Yeah, he's threatening, what's he trying to do to me? He's threatening this, all right, which is checkmate actually. So it's pretty simple. We have to check him. I don't even have an option of anything else. This is just winning. It's not checkmate yet, but it will be. This knight, again, is covering the key square. Look at his king. Remember what I told you about blocked. Blocked by my king. Not blocked. So we got to be careful. That's not blocked. That's blocked, 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 blocked. So we check him with rook to C6 check. He'll play king to here. And we'll finish him in Mortal Kombat style with rook to C5 check, because it will be blocked. Bishop blocks, rook blocks, bishop guards the rook, that's blocked, 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 blocked. It's game over. So long, chump. That is a checkmate. And as my dad would say, know your checkmates, meaning know your reasonable checkmate formations, or be able to calculate. This is an easy calculation for you. That's a checkmate. That's what he means when he said, know your checkmates. You don't have to memorize 800 different checkmates, because that's ridiculous. You know, my dad would be like, don't make it harder for yourself. Make it easier for yourself. That's why my dad's rules are so impressive, is because they take the complex game of chess and they make it very simple. Once you learn the rules, once you learn to master his rules and then apply them properly. I'm one mouse click away from having 40 straight. Probably be 50 straight if it wasn't for the mouse click. It doesn't matter. We don't worry about it. We're only worried here in these problems. We're worried about chess mistakes and avoiding chess mistakes by using our brain to anticipate those mistakes and then sidestep them. First thing that came to my mind here, what's he trying to do to me? He's going to queen this. So I better checkmate him or I'm doomed. Queen e7 check, what are you going to do? This is unblockable. Well, he can block it technically. Knight here, queen takes knight, that's a checkmate. So he can't block it. Okay, blocking means you can block and survive. He ain't surviving. Queen e7 check. Look at his king. He only has 6 squares. He's sitting on one of them. Blocked, 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 blocked. King to f1. Pretty simple. So queen checks. He can block this and we checkmate him. No. King f1. Bishop unblockable diagonal. Now the knight can come out. He's forced. It's checkmate if he doesn't move it. Then we go queen takes check. And then he goes king to g1. And then we put a super whammy. It's a Philidor legacy. We're going to smother mate him with queen to f1 check. Rook takes queen. Knight to e2 is checkmate. Okay, so now the thing that you might be looking at going, how in the holy heck did you figure this out? because I train every day and practice, grasshopper. That's how. And you could do this too. It just do problems every day. Don't do it for 6-8 hours. Do whatever's fun. 5-minute puzzle rush. Not for you guys. I'm saying I would do normally 5-minute. Do puzzles, 4 or 5 puzzles a day. Whatever's fun. Do whatever's fun for you. Puzzle rush 5 minutes is fun for me because it's boom, 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 boom. Test my might. Okay. Find the way that's fun for you and then do that. If it's 5 minutes a day, golden. The myth is that you have to spend 6 hours or 8 hours a day. No, you don't. You do 5 minutes of fun is probably not quite as good as, many hours of just tedious, force feeding it to your brain. But it's fun, and you can't beat fun. Because if it's fun for 5 minutes, it's probably going to be fun for 10 or 20 or 30 minutes. Whatever. Make it fun, make it exciting, and you're going to learn it faster. Trust me on this one. I was an ace in math, ace in science, good musical understanding. I'm an ace artist. Do what's fun. Don't do what's boring. Do what's fun. Goodbye, Charlie. Outstanding. I told you I'm going to Philidor Legacy this guy. Unbelievable. You don't see this one. So my dad said, know your checkmates. Well, I told you. I'm going to Philidor Legacy this bad boy with a smothered checkmate. Fatality. It doesn't get any better than that. All right, now, brute force technique. Let's go to the brute force. It never fails. It fails to solve problems directly, but this in math, especially we learn this in geometry. In geometry, you have indirect proof. Okay, the proof, the last one I showed you was a direct checkmate. That is what it's a direct proof. We just go through the sequence of moves and just end in a checkmate. It's boom, 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 check, 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 checkmate. Okay, the indirect proof is where you look at the moves and find what doesn't work, and then you go backwards and go, oh, you find what's missing, and that's how you do it. So brute force technique is the direct move. Check him. Where's he going to go? He's going to go, you ain't going to checkmate me. Goodbye, bro. King to D2. So the brute force technique always shows you his number 1 defense. King to D2 is his number 1 defense. Well, I'm a genius. I can go bishop checks. Wrong answer, dummy. What does he do? 2 things he can do. 1, he could block it with rook to D2. You win an exchange, but that's not crushing. Or he goes king to B2. And I can check him again. Well, that's true. You could, but he's now going to go king to C4 or king to B3 or whatever. You've squandered your advantage. So brute force technique said, we're on to something. There's only one move, king to D2. I can't stop him from going king to D2 here, but I can stop him with this one. And now we've turned this into unstoppable checkmate. Game over, he resigns. Yes, it is awesome. Okay, I have got a trick for you, my brother. Gotta be careful, though. Don't be fancy. The answer is, what I want to do, this is dead even material, but we're getting him. If we get him, we're going to get him because we're going to dominate dark squares. Okay, and the thing is, what is the most brute force technique would be like, I'm going to check this guy. Well, if you check him, Bobby Fischer, if you check him, Hans Niemann, he's going to play queen to F2. All right, I'm picking on Hans today, just randomly. Okay, we're going to pick on Hans. He'll be a good sport about it because we're going to use it. It's only good if you're a good player. It's only a joke if it's only funny if you're a really good player like Hans. Okay, so we're gonna pick on Hans. Hey Hans, I'm going to check you. He's going like, I'm sorry, old man Hikaru. I'm going to block you. He's like, fudge. That's not going to work. So he's going to block us with queen f2, and it's going to be a draw. No, I can check you. If you block me, I can check you with h4 check. And if you take it, I'll take you, and it's a checkmate. He's like, that's true, old man Hikaru, with your pineapple shirt. But I'm just going to go king to f4, and you're like, fudge. Well, oh, I can check you with g5 check. And if you move away, I'm going to take your queen. He goes, yeah, but I ain't moving away, dummy. King to f3. Yeah, you suck. Okay? So that's what happens if you try to check Hans Niemann with your queen. However, I'm like old man Hikaru, and I'm actually older than Hikaru. I don't wear a pineapple shirt, but if I did, I'd wear the one that he does, and so I would get a fake beard and pretend I'm Hikaru with my fake beard and my pineapple t-shirt. I mean, pineapple, it's a button-up shirt. It's really hilarious because he actually wears that shirt. So Hans made a great joke about Hikaru being older than him. He's like one generation older, and I'm one generation older than Hikaru. So the answer is, Hans, I'm here to pump you up, but not that way. I do it first with h4 check. And now I hit him on the unblockable diagonal. But it's not unblockable. Yeah, that's true. It's not unblockable. It's almost unblockable. But guess what it is? Sometimes when it's blockable, it's not good to block it because you seal the Pharaoh's tomb. And that's another phrase that I invented. That is an awesome phrase. And I'm going to seal Hans Niemann's tomb. How's it feel, Hans? Oh, see, he didn't let me seal his tomb. If he plays queen g3, do you see the checkmate? I'm sure you see the checkmate. It's g5 checkmate. I sealed the Pharaoh's tomb. Now this seals his tomb also, but you take all the fun out of it, you jerk. Queen g3, g5 is just an awesome visual spectacle. And it's a checkmate anyway. We'll take it. Don't disrespect the pineapple t-shirt is the lesson, Hans. That was a beauty. Now, that was a 1952 rated problem. You can't see this. You've seen my face long enough. I'm going to move this out of the way. I said I'm going to move this out of... Oh, idiot. Here we go. I'm going to move my face out of the way like that. Magic. And so you see that one mouse slip problem here has wrecked what would have been a beautifully perfect... Whatever, it doesn't matter. Remember, chess is a game of mistakes. Well, chess on a computer is a game of mistakes with a chance to make a mouse click mistake. There you go. Anyway, I have made 0 chess mistakes at this moment. Now here, what happens is we have a killer attack. We got 1, 2, 3 guys hitting f7. Now look, he's also threatening to take my queen, that jerk. And also take this rook, but really the queen. So I'm going to hit him with this check. What are you going to do? Rook checks. You're going to take knight takes rook, and then queen takes check. King goes to here. And I don't actually have a checkmate, but I will have one with knight to f6. I'll mate him on h7. So that looks checkmating if he takes it. So check. What are you going to do, Bobby? You can't go to g8 because now I would do something evil like rook to d7. Discovered check from the queen. Oh, he would take knight takes queen. I'd go bishop takes queen. Yeah. Again, that is pretty good. Rook takes king to g8. Probably I would double check him is what I would do. I'd probably double king to g8. I actually have knight to f6 check. That's a nasty move. You're screwed, buddy. Yes, king to h8 is the correct move. The answer is grasshopper. The answer is this. Now remember, what's he trying to do to me? Number 1 rule of my dad. Knight takes queen. I have a mega nasty move. This is mega nasty. This would be double exclamation because you're doomed. Doesn't matter what you do, I got you. Okay? And the mega nasty move. Pause the video. See if you can find the mega nasty move. And it's mega nasty. And this is what makes it fun, okay? Now we've had some jokes, that also makes it fun. But that's joke fun. What I'm going to play here upcoming is Mega Nasty Chess Fun. This is the kind of move, when you play this and you figure this out, you're like, oh, I'm actually good. If you don't know that, when you find this, the first time you find a move like this, you're like, wait a second, I'm actually good. Okay, I'll be back in 3, 2, 1. What we're going to do here, now there's a bunch of moves we could play. He's threatening to take this. We can play queen to d4, defending everything. We're doing well, but he's also threatening knight takes rook, so I'm under a double attack. My queen and rook are both hanging. So the problem for him is that I'm going to create a bigger threat than my queen. Well, what's the only bigger threat than my queen being taken? There's 2 of them. One of them will be taking his queen and winning material with that. That would be slightly more valuable. And then the ultimate prize is to get this big dude right here in the corner. I'm going for the big dude because I'm going to play outstanding. This is the Mega Nasty move. Everything he does loses. If he plays knight takes rook, I'm going to show you how that loses. If he plays, I'm threatening, he can't take this queen. This is the key. He can't take the queen because that's a checkmate. This is an Arabian checkmate. You know what my dad said. Know your checkmates. All right. That's when you have to know. You have to memorize the Arabian checkmate with a knight on f6 and a rook on h7. In some cases, g8. It's a checkmate. So I'm threatening an Arabian checkmate, and he moves out of the way. Like I said, queen takes knight, loses to queen takes rook check. That's another back rank checkmate. So he can't stop the Arabian knight. I mean the Arabian mate. He can't play this. This doesn't stop it either. Because I would not play knight takes queen. He'd take my queen. I'd play rook takes h7 check, or I could play queen takes a8. It's not a check. But again, he can't take the queen in the corner because if he plays queen g8, I play queen takes rook. And if he takes this rook, then rook takes h7 is a checkmate. He can't do that. So he can't stop this mate. I could also play rook takes, queen takes here, queen takes rook check, queen goes back, and then queen takes g8 to checkmate. There's multiple checkmates here. That's why I said this was a Mega Nasty move. No matter what you do, you're annihilated. And the annihilation here is pretty basic. Again, I take the knight, threatening another Arabian checkmate. What a freaking jerk. He can't take my knight with his queen because queen takes queen is a double bishop mate. Except one of my bishops is a queen. I mean, it was an awesome move. It's just awesome. What is this guy doing, threatening to take my queen, you jerk? Trying to wreck my game? I'm telling you. Well, what can we do here? We are 3 niner pieces. He's got 3 minors, 2 rooks, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Material is dead even. I don't know. I mean, he's threatening indirectly to play this move, but that's really not a big deal. Why don't I just take this bishop? That's what I don't get. Why wouldn't I just take the bishop? I mean, if he plays queen a4, I have bishop to d7. Queen takes free bishop. Knight takes pawn. Yeah, he'd play knight takes pawn. You know why? This is the threat. The threat is to play this. And if I take it with my queen, he goes queen to d8 checkmate. So that's what he's threatening. Queen takes bishop. It's still the best move. But queen takes bishop, he's got a trap move. The trap move is knight takes e4, attacking my queen. And I'm threatening to be checkmated, but I just go knight takes knight. And what are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? Because the queen has a discovery defense of d8. I'm taking your bishop. Ah, very good, Grasshopper. However, again, This is the threat. I already saw the threat. Okay, not a problem. I got you. You don't have jack squat. I'm not going to take pawn takes knight double question mark. I'm winning the game. I already took one piece from you, and now I'm going to block your attack. He's like, you jerk. Well, that's right, I'm a jerk. Jerks win chess games. Jerk moves win chess games. I'm here to wreck your plans, okay? Now, the obvious move, kaboom, king to d6. And I'm threatening to queen this pawn. However, that's a little slow. I think queen b7 is still the right move. But I cannot stop. Well, that's not true. I can stop him. You know what? Queen checks, king to d6, pawn takes, pawn check. What are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? You can't take this pawn because I put a queen corner checkmate on him. Know your checkmates. Queen to b4 is a checkmate in this position. He could never put his king here. Okay, so I pawn takes, pawn check him, and you're checkmated. He's checkmated one way or the other. This is where knowing your checkmates makes this an easy win. He can't not move his king because his king has only one move, and that's king takes pawn. Queen corner checkmate. Now, you might ask yourself, wait a second. What are you talking about? Where's this corner you're talking about? Well, I'll tell you. What a good-looking question. The king lives in a 3x3. You see his 3x3 will start at b4. It's b4 to d4 to d6 to b6 and back to b4. This is the square. All right, the 3x3 square. And if I put this queen on this square right here, these two pawns protect, they block his retreat. And there's an X-ray attack here from the queen on b4 to d6. This is a checkmate. And I call this the queen corner checkmate. I'm on one of the four corners of the 3x3. Blah, 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 blah. Talking badly. Checkmate. Know your checkmates, so I have to tell you. Okay, well, I'm sort of winning this to a degree. Oh, what a freak. What's the situation? Material situation as I have rook. Well, he's got two minor pieces. I got three. So I have a knight and a rook against a queen. I can just win his queen like this. Nothing you can do about it. How do you win his queen, sir? Well, I would do just check. Or I could check here, depending. Whichever one's better. Doesn't matter. I can knight check, clearancing the square, to play bishop check, which skewers here. Potentially. I got to be careful. I can't play this move. This move doesn't work. Why does this move not work? Well, here's the rule. I invented this rule. Not really invented it, but I noticed this rule and called it a rule. So I invented it by putting it in the category, this is not my dad's rule. This is my own rule. And this rule, supplements my father's rules. Because if I would have showed this to him and mentioned it, he would go, yes, that's exactly correct. So this is where, in the story of the Kung Fu learner, the grasshopper learns from the master. And then as he gains skill, at some point he shows things to the master in the way the master shows it to the student. And that's how you know the student has become a master. And the move is knight to f5 check wins, because the rule is when you make a sacrifice, the opponent does not have to always take it. If I check him on e6 double question mark, he says, you're not winning my queen. I'm smart enough to see that. I'll just go here. King to h6. King to g8 doesn't work because rook takes bishop is a checkmate. All right, but king to h6 would stop it. If I go knight checks here, then he can go king to g8 if he doesn't take it, and that stops it. But I would hammer him with knight takes e7 check, forcing him back to the dark diagonal, because what the point that's killer is that the bishop, when I check him, is guarded by my knight on b5. So the clever guy says knight to e6 check, and I got a mate on f8, except that he's got king to h6. That's the clever guy. Misses king to h6. But the true master says knight to f5, grasshopper, you're dead. King to g8, knight takes check because of pinned paralyzer. The bishop is pinned. Outstanding. You took it. You shouldn't take it, Johnny. If he goes here, knight takes e7 check, king to h8 or g8 or g7, doesn't matter. Bishop checks, wins his queen. But he took it. He takes it. Fatality. And I'm going to exchange up with a much better position. I'm going to queen that pawn. It's over. That's how you know you're good. Okay, now look at this freak. What a jerkweed. What's he trying to do to me? Sound familiar? Well, the answer is it's super familiar, and it's the best rule of all my dad's rules. It's the number one Mac Daddy rule. What's he trying to do to me? He's trying to take this pawn. I dare you to take it, you chump. I dare you to take it. Come get some, is what we say. Come get some. The problem, okay, why would I do this a3? Well, look, I'm threatening to take this bishop, but I can't play bishop takes bishop with profitably. He plays queen takes back, and he's fine. So I need to provoke this queen. Sometimes, you know, the rule is don't poke the bear, but sometimes you have to poke the bear. We poke the bear. Hey, bear, you're going to go back and defend your bishop on a5? Well, good, because I would do this and pawn fork you right into the Stone Age. So if I go a3, poke the bear, he can go, well, I can't go a5. You pawn fork me. I admit it. If he goes to b6, then I knight fork him with knight to a4. Fork you. He moves, and I play knight takes free bishop. Okay? Well, that stinks. So I'm going to poke this bear. Go away, bear. Go where I want you to go. He's okay. I tried to be nice. I can't go here and avoid. I can't go here because you're going to fork me again. What if I just go here? What are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? I would say, do it and find out. I leaned into the camera, but I moved my face so that you can see the board of squares. So this is the move, because if he goes queen takes b2, I fork him again. Knight to a4. So guess what? The answer to this, no matter what you do, I have two words for you, sir. Fork you. Outstanding. He's attacking my knight. Not anymore, you're not. Sightly. Okay. What are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? The question is, it's a good question. What a jerkweed. Well, what's the situation? We're a piece down. You know, we got 2 minors. He's got 3 minors. Both have 2 rooks, etc., etc. So we have a pawn sitting on b7 compared to his extra bishop on b4, c4. Sorry. Move that comes to mind: rook checks. What are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? Well, the answer is bishop to f1. Now, here's where the fun comes in. Looks like you're annihilated. Looks like I annihilate you with knight. Is that right? Is knight to check? Is that? I don't think that's working. Knight checks doesn't work because he can play not bishop takes, but he can play rook. Oh, he plays no. That does work because if he plays rook takes, I play bishop takes, and I'm double attacking this. He has to go bishop to. Bishop goes to b2 to defend his rook and provide x-ray defense to f1. So rook checks, bishop to f1. I check him. He has to play rook takes, because if he goes in the corner, it's bump and score. Rook takes f1 is a checkmate. So rook checks. This is the move that's winning. Rook checks wins because he plays bishop, the only move to defend, and then we play knight check. He has to play rook takes knight. I play bishop takes free rook. It cost me a knight, but you know, whatever. And then he'll play bishop to b2, that jerk. So the question is, check, he goes back, I check him, take his rook, and I'm going to exchange ahead, right? Rook d1. This is where the fingers come in. This is a desperado. Rook to d1 check. Bishop to f1. Knight checks. He plays rook takes knight. I play bishop takes rook, threatening to take his bishop. So I've won an exchange, but I'm a piece down. So that means I have two pieces. I'm sorry. I have a rook against his two pieces. Yes, I have. The differential would be my rook against his two minor pieces. Well, actually, okay, let's double check that. I think I'm making a mistake here. Let's just go ahead. And this is why you see masters doing this for 15 and 20 minutes at a time, because they have money invested in this tournament. Internet chess is not real chess. Why? Because there's no money investment. When you're in a pay money to play in a tournament, you know, and you had to join a chess federation, you had to drive there, etc., you're going to pay more attention because there's money involved. Okay? You want to get maximum bang for your buck. So rook to d1 check, bishop to f1, knight checks, rook takes my knight, I take his rook. And so I have bishop and two rooks. He's got bishop, bishop, and rook and knight. Yes, he's got two minor pieces for my rook, but I have a binding type position. A position is binding. So the question is, do I have anything else? If he goes bishop to b2, I could play rook takes, bishop takes, and then I could play, his bishop would be an a1. I could play bishop takes bishop. Probably not the best move. Best move might be bishop to d1, but I don't know. It's very bogus. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, I'm an idiot. No, I'm not an idiot. Or am I? I might be an idiot. Rook checks, bishop f1, knight checks, rook takes bishop b2. But there's another idea that might work. Let me tournament face this in silence before I get stupid. But I'm contemplating a stupid move. Huh. That does not work, but it almost works. I'm trying to intercept. The idea I had was this. Knight checks. The point being, if rook takes, rook checks is a checkmate, because the rook blocks the bishop. But he can, if I play knight check, he can play bishop takes, and I play bishop takes. He can't take my bishop because of a checkmate, but he doesn't have to take the bishop, is the problem. The other idea was to play bishop to here, because again, I'm intercepting. I'm threatening to take the bishop. I'm also threatening a checkmate. So the problem here, once again, becomes he doesn't have to take it. If he takes the bishop, then I play knight checks. He can't take it because it's a checkmate, but he can go king to f1, or he can play bishop to b2. So I'm trying to think, there's got to be something else. Oh, well, that doesn't work. Or does it? No. My rook is too slow to get back there. What is the move? Oh, that's a ripper. Not 100%. This doesn't block it, unfortunately, not long enough. Sometimes I might be making a mistake. Okay, let's just say I go here. Oh, you're an idiot. The move isn't knight checks. The move is bishop to e2. This is, okay, so what this is, we're exploiting his back rank, okay? And what this is finding the move that threatens the checkmate. And the move is rook checks, bishop goes back, bishop to e2 threatens to play rook takes bishop, checkmate. And he can't play, when I play rook checks, bishop f1, bishop to e2, not knight checks, bishop to e2. If he plays rook takes the bishop, knight takes check, bump and score, king to the corner, rook takes bishop is mate. So rook checks, bishop f1 only move, bishop to e2. Now he realizes he can't take the bishop, but he can create a space like g3, but I'd play bishop takes bishop, threatening bishop to h3, discovered checkmate. Dude, this is nasty. This move is super nasty. He cannot take it. And if he moves to g3, this is crushing because, and if he goes to bishop to b2, I play knight goes to b1 to block the other rook. This is so nasty. All right, there we go. Bishop to e2 threatens to play rook takes bishop mate. He can't take this. What? All right, now here's where it gets ugly. This is an unstoppable checkmate, but he's going to have a discovered check opportunity, and it's going to be nasty. He can play knight e4, king here, queen can check here, king to f3. Oh, I can't go to f3, the bishop is on that. So the question is, can I play this and run away? That is the question. The answer doesn't look good. So if I go knight to g5, he can play check here or check here, king to e2. If he goes here, king to e2, queen to d2 is checkmate, actually. Yeah. So that's not doing it. This doesn't seem to work. What is the situation here? Situation is deep freeze is what my dad would say. Situation, deep freeze. The answer is probably queen goes back. What are we at? We are a piece down. This will win the piece back. We can technically also play pawn takes knight, queen takes check, king goes to e2, and what do you got, Bobby Fischer? If he takes the rook, then we play knight to g5. Because I'll have king to e2, e3, f4, and g3. Well, there you go. That was wrong. I got tired of this business. I got tired of this business. Let's look and see. The answer is definitely not knight to g5 because he's got queen to e4. Check, check, and we don't have this f3 square. So that's no good. Queen to d2 was my other idea. You're going to win the piece back, but you're just not winning this position. Doesn't seem right. Let's go and see. That is correct. I just take the bishop. Who cares? I just take the knight. Who cares? Oh, we're a rook ahead here. That's why queen to d2 was the move. All right. My mistake. No problem. This one. Yeah, bishop to b2 is the key. Am I just winning this? Oh, I'm winning this in a different way. Rook takes, bishop takes, king takes, and yes, I'm going to exchange up. Oh, that's the one move I did not see. So what move number is this? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Saw this. 5, I saw this. 6, I saw this. Move 7, I missed this one. I did not. This move never really came into my brain. It happens. And this is why sometimes you sit here for 20 minutes. You know, normally I should find this move relatively quickly, a couple of minutes. Sometimes every day is different. And this is the lesson for chess tournaments. You win chess tournaments because you find the best move you can find at the time when you can find it. And your opponent doesn't find them, okay? And sometimes you've got to sit here for 2 minutes. Sometimes it's 30 seconds, and sometimes it's 25 minutes. So that's the deal in the tournament. When I reach this position mentally, not on the board. I'm showing you on the board what I was viewing mentally. I don't know why. I should have easily seen rook 8, d8, and that's winning. This is super helpful for everyone, for you and for me. See, the thing is, what you see on this board, not this board, that's just a winning. That, you know, he can take the rook and then rook takes, it's game over. It's game over. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, 9. The 11th move is checkmate. There you go. So it's 11 mover. This is the board. What you see on this board here, 47. The last two was 2102 and then 2114. This was 2079. I got the last one that I got. There's 2 mistakes that I made. Okay, this was a mouse click. That doesn't count in real tournaments. That's not a chess mistake. We're only interested in chess mistakes. Now the difference is, this is the key to learning. My dad said, and I told you many times, chess is a game of mistakes. I made the mouse click mistake. That's my mouse click mistake, but it's not a chess mistake, so that doesn't count. Now, you don't ever want to lie to yourself and say, what was a mouse? God, I figured that. No. Yes, I should have gotten the, not this one. Wait a second. Yeah, I figured this one out. Queen to d2. I did not count the pieces. I had to play queen d2 when I'm a rook up. I didn't realize it was a rook up. Okay, that was my mistake of managing my assets. And it only, this is a mistake that only happens, that kind of mistake of miscounting. Let me get this on the board for you. Okay. You have to understand the mistake you made, which I made this mistake. You got to admit it, number one, understand it, and it will make a difference. Okay. Yes, I made a mistake. I did not count that I'm up an exchange. And when I went, I told you I could win this piece back. But I had hallucinated that I wasn't an exchange up. Okay, so that is a mistake that I don't make in tournaments ever. It's never happened. In a problem, when you're doing 50 problems, and we saw 50 problems today, this can happen. So this is a Puzzle Rush exclusive mistake, not a problem. It's not a problem. It's not reflecting on my chess ability. This is a Puzzle Rush only mistake. Queen D2, I showed you this move and said, I can just win this knight. In a tournament game, I would have just won the knight. You could take it to the bank. Now, you could be skeptical and say, well, you know, maybe you do, maybe you don't, okay? You're not calling me a liar, but you're saying, well, you can be skeptical, and that's perfectly fair, and you can have your opinion, I can have my opinion, and it's okay. And I'm not going to say, well, you're just a jerk liar trying to rob me. No, you would be making a fair assessment. 50-50, okay? My confidence and in my experience in 45 plus years of playing tournament chess, 1981 was the first time in official tournaments that I've never made this mistake. I would not make this mistake. I make tournament wins because I don't make this mistake. But again, you don't know that. All you have is my word. That's fine. You can be skeptical, and it's completely fair. There's nothing wrong with that. So this doesn't count in my brain. But I did make a mistake in not realizing the material, and I didn't count it as I normally do, which you normally see. So yes, I did make a mistake, but it's not a chess mistake. It's a Puzzle Rush only mistake. Okay, that's whatever. This one was my mistake. It was a chess mistake. And that's all I'm doing. It doesn't matter if I make a mistake. Now, in Puzzle Rush, the answer is 3 strikes and you're out. Well, guess what? I had 3 strikes. 2 of them were not real chess tournament strikes, so I don't worry about those. But I leave this. Normally, I wouldn't even make this video and publish this video, but I am, because it's very important that you get what's going on here. I made one chess mistake. That was this one. Not realizing that rook F or 8 D8, rook on F or 8 to D8 was the move I did not see, and that is the only one that bothers me, is because I should have seen this move. And in the tournament, I probably would have seen it. Again, 50-50. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I can't say for sure. I should have seen it. It's not a difficult move to see. But this is what happens in tournaments. You play great, and I've been there. You play great right to the end, and for some reason, you miss something that you yourself would think is a relatively easy move, and you would never miss this. And it happens. So this is an actual tournament style mistake, and they will haunt you and to make you get better fast, because it's like, dude, it feels awful to have this missing of this rook move. 3, 4, 5, 6. Move 7, rook 8 to D8 or rook F to D8. Either one is correct. This one is the one that bothers me because I should have seen this. Easily correctable. All right. It's just that I didn't look deep enough, and I do visualization of my moves all the time. And the reason I do it all the time is so that I lessen the mistakes. I told you, you cannot block all mistakes. It's not possible. This is one of those times I did not block this mistake. And out of 50 problems, I made one chess mistake. If I said to you, hey, I want you to look at these 50 and you're going to make, one mistake only, you're going to go, dude, sold. Sold. You would take that at the drop of a hat. Now, I work hard on these things and I'm very good. And it's unfortunate, but I learned from this mistake, and this is the key. This was my mistake. This is a chess mistake, and that's what I'm looking for. I do these videos and I do these problems to find chess mistakes. You can never eradicate them, but you erase them within reason. You lessen the chance of it ever happening again. That's really what it is. When we say we get rid of it or eradicate it, not really. You're just lessening if the type of position shows up again, you're most likely not going to do this anytime soon. Miss this doubling of the rooks. Okay? Happened to me in a tournament game once, 1984. See, I know exactly when and where it happened. But we were in Fort Worth. But anyway, it happens. Okay, it does happen. And it sticks with you. That was 1984. That's 41, 42 years ago. You know, this summer was 42 years ago. So, this is what I'm talking about. This is how you get actually good. Not watching those garbage videos where the guy pretends to show you something and you pretend to learn. And then you go back and play and you're still at whatever level you play at. Okay, I don't know what it is. Doesn't matter. This is actual learning here. Now, you guys have the advantage, relatively speaking, of learning multiple things from this video that you never thought of before, and no one would ever think to teach you these specifically piece by piece things, because you don't learn chess that way. You learn chess by experience, by doing it and experiencing your own stupidity or the stupidity of your opponent, or sometimes mutual stupidity, and then someone explains it to you, or you explain it to yourself through hard work, etc. There's many ways. Or you observe this example of someone executing correctly, and then on the chances that mistakes occur, the correction, etc. So this is a super group of problems and a super group lesson that's super valuable to you and will make you stronger if you have made it to this point in the video. If you made it to this point in the video, leave a comment and say, look, I made it to the end. Because that's gonna separate the men from the boys. Okay? Everyone, there's the old joke, who wants to learn? I gotta bring my camera online for this. Move the camera back on to the thing. This is the old joke. Raise your hand if you want to get better. Okay, now, all of you that raised your hand, which is everyone in the room, doesn't matter what class or event you're at, who wants to work to get better? Some of those people's hands go down because they really don't want to work to get better. Now, in a group setting like that, that really never happens, but mentally their hands go down. They leave it up because they don't want to look like an idiot, okay? I'm telling you, these guys, who wants to work to get better? Who wants to work hard to get better? And they go down because they really don't want to. They want to pretend like they're learning. Go watch the other guys who pretend to make you better. I don't pretend to do it. I do the exact thing that I tell you I'm going to do. And that's what I've done here. This is a terrific video. There's so much gold in here, it's not even funny. So leave a comment if you made it to the end. You're one of the special ones that you want to work hard to get better. That's how you'll be better. The other guys, no. So that's it. So I want to thank you guys for watching. This is really a terrific set of lessons, and I wonder how many people are going to make it to the end, because it's long. I don't know. It's over an hour, but I don't time these. I just do them, and they're done when they're done. So thanks for watching. Great to have you here. Look forward to seeing you later. Leave that message. Separate yourself from you separate yourself as a man or woman from the boys or girls, because that's what makes champions, is work. I'll see you guys later.